Welcome back to VRL. I'm giving away this 3-pack blister from Evolving Skies along with the 5 Pokemon mystery card lots. All you got to do is be a part of the channel. Make sure you like the video today, comment down below, and subscribe. And the comments are really important because actually one comment led a little bit into the style of today's video from my normal Tuesday videos that I would do of the Tuesday trends, looking at things going up in price. But before we get into all of that, make sure you go over to this video here and leave an additional like and additional comments. You're officially entered to win that giveaway for the 3-pack blister and those mystery packs. What the goal is, it's going to be 6,000 subscribers. Once we reach 6,000 subscribers, this all happens. It all becomes reality. I get to pick those winners, get those prizes out there, and I'm really excited to see that happen soon. So hopefully with your support, we can get there. Let's dive in. So like I mentioned, today is Tuesday. It's our Tuesday trends, looking at different prices of Pokemon product, whether it's product or single cards going up in price. However, based on my Sunday video, I had a commenter put out there that they liked the format and I should do that with the prices going up. And the format was kind of a spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks as far as what's out there in the market. No rhyme or reason, not looking at promos from a certain era, not looking at a particular set, not looking at just WotC Hollows or something, but a mix of things. And I did that with the organization style and TCG player of going best selling and then going through things that just kind of caught my eye and investigating a little bit. Is this going up? Is it going down? And for Sunday, it was held out for going down. And for here on the Tuesday Trends video, what's going up? And I actually do want to take this back to the WotC era to start. The original, the one that really set this whole thing in motion here, the original Charizard Hollow, the base set Hollow from the original base set Unlimited of Pokemon Charizard. So this one is interesting because while lately it's been going up a little bit, and I mean a little bit, it tells a larger story. Just in the past year, it has gone up quite a bit here, almost $100 in the past year. So $350 a year ago, now we're at $450. But the fluctuation in and out of the boom of this market lately in 2025 has been interesting to see how much this has deviated from, you know, just in the boom time here to, what is this, a lower like 378 going up to almost 500, 494. The fact of the matter is there's a cap. Cards don't just exponentially grow in price forever. That's not how it works. Even though this one set everything in motion back in 1999, and here we are, 25, coming around to 30 years later, actually, from the franchise of Pokemon. Coming around for the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and this has been pretty relatively stagnant in the better part of a year. Up and down, wild swings, yes. But you do a cost average, and it's really getting you closer to like that 420, 425 range, if you look at just the average across the board here. And this is for a near mint hollow. You're going to have condition be a huge factor. I personally wouldn't be paying for something like this at this price point without photos. At least there's a couple that do seem to have some photos with them. But you got to be careful because while they call it near mint, that doesn't mean much for something this old. It's really hard to judge that, even with photos. So I would go with a little bit more of a trusted platform in how you look at something like this. When you go into more modern stuff, you can be a little bit more reasonable about your assessment and the price point and where things are going. The Journey Together Enhanced Booster Box, while it was always a little bit high because we were in the boom market, it did cool down a little bit to get to almost that 200 or just below mark. I think there was a price just shy of like a month and a half ago at 199 or something like that. But it's been growing back up a little bit, slowly, but definitely growing. And thank goodness slowly, because it tells us a little bit about the market today, that while things, you know, those classics like Charizard from the original base set aren't taken off because growth does have a cap, and the modern stuff doesn't just explode all the time. There's a little bit more sense about it, that it's just reflecting the market. People are trying to get a little bit of something, so the price trickles up. It's not shooting up crazy on some of these things. Others that I think have a lot to go further in their performance over the long term here is going to be the Mew EX. As a promo, it's one of the 3 promos you get in the 151 UPC. I got them up behind me here. The Gold Card Mew, and then you have this Mew EX, and then a Mewtwo EX available in the promo set. And I thought that these were undervalued for a long time. Then they started taking off quite a bit, and I was okay with that price point. And I think it's reasonable for now to hold out there. But in the long term, talking 3, 5, another 8 years from now, I think something like this is going to be proving to be a little bit more valuable than the current $38 price point that we're seeing here today. So I don't know if this is a horrible pickup, even though it is on the trend up. So I'd keep my eye on it. Maybe it can come back down to that $30 range for a little while and be worth a pickup if you haven't gotten a hold of this one yet. And it's something you want. Just because it exists doesn't mean you have to get it. There's way too many to go that approach, unless you hit the lottery or something and this is your big thing. I don't know. You can't just go all in all the time. You got to be a little bit more selective. And in being selective, taking something new like this Destined Rivals Misty Psyduck, we all know that often you have that FOMO price of a new release, and then it comes down after that FOMO hype. And here we are almost leveling off. It did come down a little bit. Now it's coming back up a little bit. We're in a good solid range here. And while the trend in just the past couple of weeks or so, that's very recent, very short sample of time to be reviewing this, to be honest. But in the past couple of weeks, this has been trickling up in price. It's worth a watch to see where it goes. We're going to have a lot of different illustration rares through Black Bolt and White Flare that are going to be hitting the market more regularly over the next few months even, and beyond, that are going to be kind of competing for this spot of where you want to put your collection dollars. And maybe this one hits the mark. You have a lot of good things going for it. Psyduck being somewhat popular of a Pokemon, Misty being a popular character, and it's a really cool artwork altogether, sitting in at $56 currently. We have the Celebrations Elite Trainer box, and maybe it's just because that 30th anniversary, whether they do a set or not, we don't know for sure just yet. Speculation is yes, they will. However, we haven't seen anything announced. That is coming around the corner, so the 25th celebration has been really taking off just in the past 2 months or so. This one sitting at a crazy $230. I mean, that's competing with $151 at this point for Celebrations Elite Trainer box. Dark Raichu. Now, I wanted to see where this was at because I'm sure you're like me. If you're watching this channel, you probably like a lot of different PokeTubers out there, and one in particular, Pat Flynn with Deep Pocket Monster and his Team Rocket sets that he's done, and the Dark Raichu being a little bit harder one to get a hold of, the first secret rare available in the franchise of the TCG, and I think kind of coincides with his videos, to be honest, that little spikes have happened within viewing of his videos, which tells you that he actually has a pretty big influence, and just one YouTuber and what they're saying and what they're thinking and doing can be a major influence on the hobby overall, which is kind of cool, but also a little dangerous because, you know, that's a lot of power to yield. And I think Pat Flynn's okay to be trusted with some of that power. But some of these other ones out there, oh man, I hope they're not dictating the market too much. This one sitting currently at $87 on the market, not its highest in the past few weeks here. It was up at $91 not too long ago, but it has been trending upwards for sure. Mega Rayquaza EX, a shiny full art out of Ancient Origins. Now, I have no desire to go back this far to the X and Y era and be picking up singles. The prices get insane, and the market price is showing that it's almost $500 at $493, but the listings available are putting in astronomical pricing, almost $1,500 here. So, not making any sense, but this is an aspect of the fact of what's to come. We're bringing back Megas, and here we go back in time to see what that does. Well, recycling that stuff starts boosting the past versions of it. So if they come back with the V and VMAX cards, are those going to have a big boom again that we saw in the Sword and Shield era? Are those going to have a resurgence because that's been recycled again? Same with GX cards. If those were reintroduced, are we going to see the older versions of those have a resurgence back into the market going on a crazy boom? Not everything is exponentially high, but you have certain things going for them, like nostalgia, you have popularity of a Pokemon, and the uniqueness of that card, along with artwork and many other things. And that all gets kind of readdressed when they start replaying the same tune that they had done before, and that's what's coming about with the Megas. We've seen some coming up, we've seen others that aren't getting as popular, but I think overall Megas at a baseline are getting more awareness for a lot of people, since we do have that Mega Evolution coming out later on this year. Not even by much, a couple months are we looking at? My goodness. And speaking of V and VMAX cards, I was interested on this Vaporeon. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of the VMAX version from this trio of Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon. I prefer the V alt art look that they created for these three Pokemon over the VMAX, but for whatever reason, the VMAX is popular and is showing the better price point for the investment side. And we'd only have a little bit of a tail going back up here, and looking like this correction back down it really wasn't ready. It being the market wasn't ready to take that on, because we've had some growth and then a little bit of jumps and then some stabilization and then a jump. And okay, we overshot it back in March at $78. All right, so that came down to recover, which usually would set and flatline a little bit higher than the last plateau. The last plateau prior to that was $58, so we should see it in the 65 range or so, but it didn't hold there. It actually came back down, and now it's worked its way back up into that $65, $66 range. It's currently sitting at $66. So interesting to see this, but you can kind of take the historical patterns and know where things should and probably will end up for the stair-stepping growth or the trajectory down, depending on where you're headed with a card. So it gives you some insight of where to look for it, when to maybe make your move on a particular card or a piece, especially if it's not current and in the modern market. Speaking of something that is pretty current here, the Sea and Sky Premium Collection out of Crown Zenith. This thing from the beginning was a really great deal. $40 was the MSRP for 14 packs of Crown Zenith, and the promo cards or the different variations, whatever, they weren't that exciting, but the fact that you got 14 Crown Zenith packs for $40 was an insanely good deal, and people took up on that. They went pretty crazy for it. I wanted to go out and get my 2. My wife, of all people, convinced me to go for 4. I did. It was a full pallet, no line, no pushing. This was before everybody was crazy. There was a little bit of hype around it for this product, but not wild like we see today. So I did take 4 of them, and I was pretty excited about that. And now it's one of those little things that in the short term has been a good investment piece, And then if I do open it, I paid MSRP, so it's not the biggest deal if I open it because I didn't have that much invested into it. So it does give you a little bit of play in the future with your collection if you want to take it on as something you want to open down the line to kind of relive the wonderful times of Crown Zenith where pull rates were good, or if you want to just have something different to do that other people might not have that opportunity in the future, especially somebody like me who's got a YouTube channel on it. But as an investment piece, it's been really taking off really pretty wildly. I think the lowest we got down to was in the $60 range, which was still 50% over MSRP, but it's been a slow grow, not slow, it's been pretty decent growth. And then after we saw that Surging Sparks launch, that's when things really started taking off. Just like everything in the hobby, this is not unique, but it has really grown, and now we see a little bit of a flatlining at the top, getting to a little bit more of a sensible settling down. Thank goodness, because while yes, I like my investments to go up just like anybody else, I can't always look at this as just an investment. It's not. It's more than that. It's nostalgia for me. I like to know that the hobby is healthy and growing and doing well, which means kids who don't have money and they just want to put a little bit of allowance into this, or parents who want to get their kid a nice little birthday gift or something for Christmas when it comes time, I'd like to see that be a reality more so than just a few pieces of my own going up, because I'm not putting my entire retirement into Pokemon. That doesn't make any sense. I'm a grown adult, so I try to diversify the portfolio a little bit. This is more of a hobby / investment. Isn't it kind of fun that my hobby can be an investment mentality for me? I'm not really trying to lean into this as some sort of retirement plan. And if you are, all power to you. I think that's a little dangerous. I think there's a lot safer ways to go in that direction. But that's for another channel, another time, and probably another YouTuber instead of me, because I'm only talking about the shiny cardboard, where we're going to end it on this Pikachu that's not even shiny, but from the illustration contest in 2024. This one has really taken off, and really recently. So we're in like an $8, $9 card, a little up in the $11 mark, back down to the 8, 10, and now all of a sudden 20. Why? Because the availability on these was pretty limited. That's why. And people look for something else. That hunt for the better, that hunt for including in your own collection, that hunt for the card you want continues. And eventually it comes back around to what's available, what can you afford, and then, hey, I can't afford the things that I'd like because they're not available, because it's at a scalper price, or the market's dictating something that I'm just not interested in being a part of. So what do I like? And you have things like this Pikachu that stand out as something interesting, unique, a little different. It's stamped, illustration contest, it's a fan art. So a lot of cool stuff going there. And, who's not going to like Pikachu just hanging out like he's some sort of cat in the sun, just giving a little scratch, going for a yawn, and looking all cute like a normal Pikachu should. So you find people leaning into these other things here and going, you know what, that's not a big price tag to pay, and they go for it. And now there's a little bit of a popularity, even if it's small. That market is starting to shift into these things, so you see it grow, and we'll see people move away from it and find something else too, because this is a never-ending hobby. Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you, but I thought that was an interesting take, just trying to connect these one to the next on how we could go through the fact that the market does continue to change. On Sundays I look at it going down, on Tuesdays I look at it going up, but the reality is it's always moving, and that's why I can do this every single week and have it be a very different story from week to week, because the whole hobby is ever-changing, ever-growing, and super interesting. I'd really appreciate your support. If you made it this far, please consider liking the video, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel. Don't forget about that giveaway I have in the beginning of the video. Go back and check it out. But I do post 7 days a week, and with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.